What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Hidden Heights Farm. This is my wife Rachel, Mojo, and I'm Kevin. And today we got a busy afternoon ahead of us. We just got done watching OU Sooners beat Texas, and now we're gonna go try out this new chute and work the goats. We're gonna check their feet. We're gonna give them a copper bolus, and we'll kind of explain a little bit about that as we go. So we're gonna try to film a little bit of it today because we got a lot of questions about how we do this and why and all that. So come along today and watch us. Come along with us today and check out what we do. We're gonna try to work these goats and get it done before it cools off too much again. Last night we got our first, well, I don't know if it was a freeze, but it got down to like 33 degrees and there was frost all over everything. I don't know if you guys can see these pumpkins or not, but they are gone now. They got frost all over them this morning when we woke up.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, so we got a few pumpkins that we're gonna harvest anyways, but we gotta go get these goats corralled up. I'm gonna get some feed and try to get them into this little holding pen, and then we'll start working them in the chute. Come on! Come on, goats! Come on! They're taking their time.
Come on! Come on!
Alright guys, so we got them in this little holding pen off the side of this barn here, and they're getting pretty restless, so we're going to try to hurry up and get this started. They hate being in here, and the Chicos are quite a bit bigger, so we don't want anyone getting hurt. But basically we're going to try to trim all their hooves and give them all a copper bolus, and I'll show you guys what those look like here in just a second.
Okay. Where's your hoof trimmers?
Orange handle on.
These look new. I'm pretty sure these are the new ones.
They are. Okay. Already gave her the
Her hooves are bad.
Here.
You got your thing recording?
Yep. But I'll let you be able to see it. I don't care. But really need to get this done. What are you doing?
I was gonna let one hold.
No.
Need a board to put it on.
Alright guys, so you see here how this is kind of starting to grow over? This is what you want to do. You want to try to make it all flat. Kind of get your angle and just go from there. And sometimes they'll bleed a little bit. It don't really hurt them. It's just like cutting our fingernails.
Just try not to go too deep all at once. Do it in stages like Kevin's doing. Layers.
Okay. Alright, hold on. Stop that.
Tiny, you're number one today. You were the first one in the new chute. Yeah, I don't think she liked it too much.
Alright guys, so one thing we're going to do to all these goats is give them a copper bolus. And what that is these little bitty wire particles that is in a little capsule. It's hard to zoom in on it, I know, it's hard to see. But what we're going to do is stick it in this gun. And we're going to put a little selenium gel in here to make it a little sticky. And I'll show you guys how we do it. We're going to jam this down their throat. Pretty much so they'll swallow it. And this is something that is crucial for goats. Now sheep, they're totally opposite. I know I've talked about this in videos before, but we keep getting a lot of emails and questions about this. Goats have to have a good amount of copper to stay healthy and to survive. The only way you can make sure that they get their copper is if you actually live somewhere where your ground is copper sufficient. Here, our ground is deficient in copper, so that means in the soil and the grass and everything, they don't get the amount of copper that they need to stay perfectly healthy. Having the right amount of copper is beneficial to them as far as their coat looking good, as far as their immunity to parasites. So that's why about every 6 months we try to give them all a copper bolus. And you guys have probably heard me say this many times. You can leave out the trace mineral, you can put out the tubs and all that. The goats can't consume enough copper out of feed or anything like that to get the amount of copper they need in their system. The only way to do it is with a copper bolus. So we're gonna get this goat here by the horns. Probably get on this side of me. And this isn't always something easy to do. Sometimes it takes a few times to do it. But basically we'll try to stick this back to the back side of her throat as far as we can, and then stick this plunger to where it kind of shoots it down her throat. And like I said, it's not that easy to do. You gotta watch, because a lot of times they'll spit it out. And I think she swallowed it. Alright, so she swallowed it. So another thing we're going to do while we got them in this head gate here is we want to check their eyes. So her eyes has quite a bit of pink down here. It's not actually their eyes, it's down here in the, I don't know what they call that exactly.
Her eyelid.
Well, it's like her eyelid. But if it's pale white, that means they're pretty bad with parasites. So you probably need to deworm them. She looks good, so we're not going to deworm her. The copper bolus should take care of any parasites that she has, and it'll keep her immune level good and high. And we're fixing to go into the winter, so you know, you don't want any sick goats dealing with the cold weather. So now we're going to open up one of these sides and we'll start trimming her hooves. And this does make it a lot easier, but it's still hard to do because they want to kick and fight you. They don't like their hooves messed with very much. But her hooves don't look bad. We just did them back when we bought them in May. But you want to make sure you get the sides good too. And you want to make sure you got a good, nice set of clippers. It makes all the difference in the world. Just kind of clean them off a little bit. Make sure you don't see nothing weird.
And do it little by little like Kevin's doing. Don't take off a big, huge chunk all at one time.
Right.
Because it's just like our fingernails. If we cut it into the quick, it's going to make...
It'll bleed and it hurts.
Yes, and it's going to make them very sore and tender-footed.
Okay.
So just be careful.
That side's good.
She looks really good and healthy.
Yeah.
She don't have any signs of diarrhea. She's got a good amount of pink in her eyelids. She's at a good weight.
Alright, so this hoof's kind of grown over a little bit. Alright.
Is this one sock? It is.
I don't know.
She'll calm down. There you go.
Alright, calm down, girl. Dang.
Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to put the camera over here. We're going to video the rest of them. We're going to do the same process to all of the rest of these. Tiny's already had her turn. She's being nosy for us.
Alright guys, so we're about halfway done. We finally got in and got the buck in here because he was kind of ramming some of the smaller goats and stuff. We just got done with him, so we're going to turn him out. You want to let him go?
Okay.
He's actually the most gentlest one out of all of them.
Which
so
way?
far.
That way?
Nope.
This way?
Yep, and then pull it.
Buddy.
There goes Hercules. So that is our Spanish sire for our Spanish goat herd. And he's a little thin right now because he's been chasing these girls for the last couple, month or so, I guess. But that's how many we got left. And I had a little boo-boo myself. These little snips that we're using to cut their hooves are pretty sharp when they go into your skin.
Okay guys, so this happens, especially when you have a goat flailing around. So we cut her hoof in the quid pretty bad. So we're going to take this bleed stop powder. See if I can get it. Septic. What is that? It's just called bleed stop. You just... Yeah. You just pack it in the wound. So you're just going to take that and you're going to pack it in the wound. And this is made for any kind of bleeding, especially when you're clipping nails. It says on the directions, and it will stop that bleeding. So he's just going to pour a generous amount inside that. And it's going to help stop that bleeding.
Damn, I wonder too sharp for one.
Go put your baby doll up.
Put it in the Ranger.
Put your doll in the Ranger.
Alright guys, so we are going to attempt to weigh. This is Ollie. He's one of our biggest kids that was born this year so far. So we're going to attempt to weigh him. And before I forget, did I forget to mention that OU beat Texas? So
that's a penalty. royalty.
We got this digital scale here in this little harness. We've never used it, but we're gonna try to figure it out. All right.
The Texas person tried to break his finger.
Yeah.
For doing horns down. That's
All
why
right,
he's
come
got
hold
bandages.
this. Are you put this underneath him?
Yes, boss.
And just kind of put it underneath him. I'm gonna.
I could video.
Good luck.
It's a little. I think it's a little small for this, but we can get an idea.
Oh my gosh.
All right, ready? Okay, that ain't gonna work. Okay, never mind. This is way too small. This is for like little bitty kids. Dang it. It's got that little strap, but...
Did you not read the directions?
Well, this is for little bitty kids. But I thought it might work.
Hold on to it. Don't let him go.
Okay. Tell me what it says. Ready? Nope. Alright. Now read it. Ready?
Okay. 51.25.
Close enough.
Kinda.
He's still got a little weight to grow before we butcher him. Okay, there's one. Let me get her in this one. Okay, you get back. Come on, in there, girl.
It's a boy. You're alright, Daisy.
Go. Alright guys, so we're done, and I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but we had to pin Daisy up inside the barn the whole time that we were doing that because she gets pretty upset when them goats start yelling and everything, don't you, girl? See, she's looking at me all serious. Like, you're gonna eat my lunch. She don't like her goats when they're making weird noises and stuff because she thinks they're in danger, and that's her job, right? And you do a good job. The kids just went to go get her some food, so we'll feed her here in a minute. We'll kind of comfort her so she knows that everything's okay. We were just doctoring your goats. That's all we were doing.
You've got a goat stuck.
What do you mean a goat stuck?
Right here. She's stuck. I had the feed bucket over there.
Great. It's gonna be hard to get her out of these panels.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can.
Mom,
What?
got her some food.
Good job.
Let's see.
Did you feed Daisy?
We both did. Okay, he got it because I was too short, and then I carried it. Hi, Tiny.
Caleb, go move her food.
Yeah, it's in the basket. No, I'll get it. She'll bite you. Hold on. It's all right, girl. Come on. Come here. Daisy. Come here. Don't bite me. Come on.
Come on, Daisy.
Come on.
Come on.
So the kids put the Daisy's food right here in the barn door, and all the goats was going in and out, and she didn't like that very much, so we're just going to move it to where we usually feed her.
Get back. Jeez.
Alright guys, so it's fixing to get dark. That took probably an hour and a half to do 28 goats. And this is something you need to do at least, you know, depending on your herd, depending on how much land you raise, how many pastures and rotation and all that you do. The way we do it here, we try to work our goats at least once every 6 months. So every manufacturer is different on this copper bolus. The one we got is like 9 to 12 months, I believe, and some are 3 to 6 months. You just got to read. And the ones we got were 2-gram capsules for the goats that were 50 pounds and less, and 4 grams for anything over 50 pounds. And I think. All right, guys, so we are done with the goats. It took us about an hour and a half or so, but it is super important to do this. We try to do our herd at least once every 6 months. And if you see any other signs, we check them, you know, every time we go feed them. So if you see one limping or something like that, it's a good chance they probably have bad feet or they need their hooves trimmed. But the good practice is once every 6 months, load them all up, check every single one of them. Check and see if their eyes are pink or white, and you know, treat them accordingly. Anything else you can think of? And of course, a lot of places around here in Oklahoma are copper deficient. So like I said earlier in the video, a lot of people that raise goats don't understand how important copper is for a goat's health, but that you have to have a good amount of copper to survive and be really healthy. You know, out in the wild back, say 300-400 years ago, when there wasn't fences and stuff and goats lived in the wild, they could travel hundreds of acres or maybe even thousands. And you know, there might be a piece of the land in certain regions or areas that had copper or minerals where, you know, like if one little place here, they can't get outside this fence, so they can't just go down the road and find a pasture that has good copper. So anyways, read up on that if you guys are interested. If you guys raise goats and have problems with parasites, I would ask you guys to please just check more into the copper, because it will save you guys a lot of work and money. These copper boluses are not very expensive, and you watched us do it. It's not that hard. Sometimes it's kind of frustrating because it's hard to get it jammed down their throat just right. Sometimes they'll chew it, but not normally. So one extra benefit I forgot to talk about what these copper boluses are. Within a week or two, you should start noticing these goats' coat or their hair starting to slick up a little bit, not look so dull. Sometimes when the black goats are a little deficient, they'll start to turn a little bit red. And you'll notice their tail will get a little more smoother, not have so much of like a fish tail. It's a lot of work working goats, but if you're going to be a goat farmer, you got to do it, because you know, they can't really do it themselves. And if your pasture is deficient in minerals and copper especially, you really need to push the bolus to them. So guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you like what you've seen or interested in more videos of goats, I ask you guys to please subscribe, smash that like button, and we'll see you next time.
Look how crooked that is.
Crooked?
It is. Kevin, it's like there. There you go.